Happy Friday evening, everyone. Welcome into the PHLY Phillies Postgame Show podcast. I am Jamie Lynch, joined by Renee Washington as always, and of course Tyler Zulli in producing with us. The Phillies win. The Phillies win. The Phillies win in dramatic fashion as Spencer Turnbull and Alec Bohm are the storylines of the evening. And Renee, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't start with Spencer Turnbull actually getting the nod tonight ahead of Alec Bohm, who hits 2 home runs for 6 RBIs and has himself a career evening. But the story of the game and the story of what do the Phillies do might be looking at the Phillies rotation.
Listen, Spencer just turned up the heat in the kitchen a little bit because he absolutely put some pressure on. Obviously, we'll get into Taijuan Walker specifically, but Spencer Turnbull, another incredible performance. Also, to have a game like this where you nearly had a no-hitter. The White Sox were able to just get 2 hits the entire game. Spencer Turnbull's looking really good. And as you mentioned, we were even trying to talk through who's the player of the game. At first it was Alec Bohm behind his pair of 3-run homers, but no, it was Spencer Turnbull that swooped in for the kill because he's looking really good to round out the starting rotation.
Yeah, the starting rotation is the storyline of the Phillies year, and it's phenomenal. Spencer Turnbull now, after 5 starts, has a 1.23 ERA. Now, I listened to Rob Thompson on the radio pregame show, and he did not rule out the possibility of a 6-man rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer Turnbull has been so good. I know he's only pitched 80 innings over the last 3 years, and his arm might not be built up for, a long season, but he's been so good. I don't know how you take him out. Now, Rob Thompson did say, well, it's kind of undecided what we're going to do with him, and the reason it's going to be a decision is because Taijuan Walker is going to throw on Sunday after a bullpen session today down at Citizens Bank Park, where Rob said he looked great. His velocity looked good. Taijuan's mentally ready to go, physically ready to go. So, look, he's making $17 million a year. You're going to try and wiggle him back into the starting rotation from a financial standpoint.
Yeah.
But Spencer Turnbull has been so good. I don't know how you can justify taking him out. Now, I'm not saying it has to be a 6-man rotation for the remainder of the year, but if there's a way to work this out with the schedule where Zach Wheeler can remain on regular rest and the rest of the guys are okay with maybe an extra day's rest, there might be a way to juggle this at least for a couple weeks until one of those guys gives you a reason not to have them in the rotation.
We've seen the Phillies roll out a 6-man rotation. And when you look at Taijuan Walker's recovery timeline, the fact that he is, as you mentioned, expected to be able to get his final rehab start on Sunday, putting him on track to start next weekend in San Diego, that does expedite things. He's been able to get back a lot quicker than even we had anticipated. We had talked about that mid-May, first couple weeks of May, and it looks like he's going to be back sooner than that. And so that does leave us in this pickle because then on the other side, you have Spencer who goes out there and pitched phenomenally. And as you mentioned, his numbers so far, that 1.23 ERA in 22 innings so far this season, incredible for a guy that you got for $2 million. You have Taijuan, who you spent all this money for. You had Spencer, who you spent just $2 million on, and over a phone call locked him in. But I will say, I think the biggest thing comes down to bigger picture, the fact that Spencer Turnbull hasn't pitched more than 56 2/3 innings in a season since 2019. And so that might factor into why Rob and for the Phillies, they will decide to move him into the bullpen and try to see if you can keep him fresh in case you need him to start and slot back into a starting role that he'd be able to do so.
But with how well Ranger, Christopher, and Taijuan would be the one that maybe you handcuff him to. But with Ranger and Sanchez dealing, you're not going to need Spencer Turnbull in any sort of role.
Hopefully. And that's the thing. You don't want to need him because you hope the guys can stay healthy. You don't need to bring him in. Taijuan would be because he's not able to perform. I imagine, as we talked about, they're going to give Taijuan time before they figure out if he's going to stay or if you're going to bring Spencer back to replace him. But I think it just leaves for a great conversation. Like, I'm glad we even have to have this conversation because let's be honest,
it's a good problem to have.
All off season, Taijuan Walker was one of the question marks around. Yes, he was the first starting pitcher in Major League Baseball last year to get 15 wins. Yes, he also has awful first innings. And so he was one of the gray areas for this team that was an area of weakness. And you have Spencer Turnbull coming in, able to showcase, hey, if needed, if Taijuan's not able to come back from his recovery and his rehab time to do well, you've got Spencer. So it's a great problem to have. I know in the chat, want to give a shout out. We've got K Red, who was first in the chat, John Sequella, Daniel Berry, Bobby Brio, Chris Lemmer, Casper, Hubert. What's up, everybody? Hit that thumbs up button. Let us know your thoughts. I know you guys are talking about Turnbull in the chat. Greg MC, you're saying he's not playing around. John's mentioning how they still have to manage Turnbull's innings, which is a great problem to have. What would you do? I'm all for moving Turnbull eventually moving him to the pen because you don't want to stretch him too thin, and now he's out there throwing,
Yeah,
hits and things like that.
Well, the positives of Taijuan are, 175, 176 innings, whatever it was last year. He ate up some innings. He's able to keep you in the rotation and bullpen. He's helpful in remaining fresh. And as Jim Salisbury told us on Thursday, that's a big plus for the franchise. Or the organization, I should say, whatever. That's a lot of innings that you don't have to put on other arms. So that's like a positive. Spencer Turnbull in the inverse of that, like you said, over 59 innings since 2000 or 2019.
Yeah.
And I think it's only 56 innings since then. Mm-hmm. So obviously he's not built for the long haul here, but it's all about how you finish the season. And I'm not going to question whatever Rob does. I'm not going to question because I really believe he's had this team humming and playing their best baseball in late September the past two seasons. And I'm going to trust his decision here. I'm not going to question it. If I was sitting in Rob's shoes, I would try to juggle and manage the calendar and schedule in a way that keeps Zach Wheeler on his preferred 5 days rest. I can't recall off the top of my head Aaron Nola's personal beliefs on this, whether he's okay with an extra day rest. Ranger's just so freaking adorable. He'll probably do what's best for the team.
I feel like, can literally go with the flow.
Yeah.
He's a chameleon. Whatever you need, he blends right in.
You'd really have to deep dive the schedule ahead and see how a six-man rotation would actually look. Zach Wheeler is kind of the linchpin of this. Whatever he wants to do, I think is kind of, the North Star here on Rob Thompson's navigation of this. You like that? That was pretty good.
That was good, actually. I see what you did there. Okay.
That wasn't bad. There might be a way to do it. There might not be a way to do it. If you put him in that long relief role, you don't want him to lose this rhythm that he's in.
Right.
Like he's got a 1.23 ERA. He's striking guys out. He's showing his strikeout pitches. Yeah. You don't want him to fall out of this zone for a guy, Taijuan, where if his velocity is not back to where it is, he could struggle. So this is an interesting little pickle for Rob Thompson to find himself in. I'm sure this is above Rob's head too. I'm sure Dave and Sam and the analytics department and the R&D department are going to have a lot of input with this too. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Most writers seem to think it's going to be Turnbull to the bullpen, but listening to Rob pregame, he kind of sounded hesitant, like, well, we don't really know yet. Like, six-man rotation could be a thing. The bullpen could be a thing. So we'll see what happens. But Spencer Turnbull, I don't know how you pull him out of the rotation right now.
That's the thing. I think he's pitching too well to put him in the bullpen right now.
That doesn't mean he has to be in the rotation in August.
And that's exactly
But you might as well ride the hot hand while you got it.
That's kind of my thought. After today's game, you don't give up a single hit until Gavin Sheets breaks that streak in the top of the seventh inning. You have a 1.23 ERA in 22 innings. You've been very steady and consistent as that number 5. Keep riding that momentum. Like, I'm all for those types of guys, because we'll talk about weight as well. When you have those players that can step up and give you good performances, you got to ride that coattail. It's not going to last.
Like Spencer Turnbull, goalie.
Right. Spencer Turnbull's not going to continue pitching like this all season.
Probably
we can
not.
all agree to that. It is only April. I know in the chat it was mentioned, Dave, you were saying Reminder, it's only April in a good way. But yes, it's also only April in a bad way. Like, Spencer Turnbull's not going to give you a 1.23 ERA type of pitching performance the remainder of the year. So I'd ride that until it burns out. When he burns out and starts to seem like he's dipping a little bit, maybe you slide him into the pen. But then also through that, you've given Zach, Aaron, Ranger, and even Christopher a great opportunity to have that 6-man rotation, get a little
Take
extra
some innings
rest.
off that arm.
And I think to me, I hate to even say the I word, but given all the injuries that we've seen across the league, UCL injuries, even more for like rest them as much as you can without breaking out of their routine. So I think let's ride the Turnbull coattail as long as you can till the wheels fall off.
That's my gut. As we sit here,
I think so. I think after tonight, he might have locked himself into that too. I'd imagine you can't then turn around and say, let's move him to the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he definitely gave them a lot to think about, and Taiwan is definitely coming up into the rotation. $17 million. And the other thing that was on my mind too was like, well, if Taiwan's not a part of the playoff rotation, you didn't want to throw him in those middle relief situations last year in the playoffs. And if he's not going to be a starter, he was a wasted roster spot. Turnbull could be something that isn't a wasted roster spot come playoff time. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do here. I'm kind of pulling for the 6-man rotation a little bit. I don't want to lose Turnbull's momentum that he's got going on here. I don't know. I just don't want to go yo-yo with the guy. When he's finding he's like Stella, Renee. Well, he's finding his groove again.
Stella.
I never saw that movie.
Such a good movie.
Angela Bates though. What up?
Bassett.
Bates. Bassett. Angela Bassett. Yeah, her.
Queen Angela. Listen.
That was pretty close.
That was close, especially for someone that's never seen that classic movie. But you can quote Billy Madison in Dumb and Dumber. But anyways.
We quoted Super Troopers earlier.
Yeah.
We showed some diversity.
Oh, no.
By the way, the Miller Lite tastes better after a win.
It does. My other thought process about the 6-man rotation is the fact that we've had Taijuan Walker made 3 rehab starts. The third was Sunday. He's getting back healthy. We know the timeline of how he's been working back, but we don't know how he's going to return back.
No.
So also, I don't think you jump and make any impulsive decisions and move Spencer to the bullpen, have him out of his routine of rotation. God forbid Taijuan is not pitching well. You've moved Spencer to the bullpen and you have to then switch him back.
And if he struggles there, and then you bring him back.
Now you're messing up both of them. So I'd rather,
since
Spencer's pitching well, let's try to keep him there. That's a constant. You got to eliminate the variables. Let's put our science hats on, the controllables and the variables. Do you remember that at school?
Yeah.
You want to eliminate the variables and focus on what you can control. We know what Spencer's giving. We don't know what Taiwan's going to give. So if he's the only variable that we're unsure about, that's fine. I don't want 2 though. So because of Taiwan's track record and because of the fact that he's working back from injury, 6-man rotation.
I was kind of hoping they would give him another 2 weeks down there to get his arm strength up and get his velocity back, so we didn't have to deal with this quite yet. But apparently, they're hell-bent on getting him back on Sunday or after Sunday's throwing session.
Between the ears, it comes down to it. Do you think if he's down there for another week or 2 and he feels ready?
He sees his job being taken.
Correct.
Correct. He sees Spencer Turnbull taking his job, and he's going, I need to get in there and show my worth again.
Taijuan had a 250-mile round trip on Tuesday to PNC Field in Moosic, Pennsylvania. He was home by 11 p.m. He had pitched for 4 2/3 innings in that AAA game with a fastball that averaged around 91 miles per hour. Meanwhile, Spencer Turnbull's over here taking your job.
Well, yeah, and he's going back up to Lehigh on Sunday for his last. He's going, my job is getting taken. Right. I need to get back there. Nice to have guaranteed money, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I would like some guaranteed money.
If you're paying me $17 million a year, you can send me wherever the hell you want. But I do not care.
I do feel like if you continue to have him down and he is actually ready to pitch and he's now still in AAA and Spencer's throwing near no hitters, it is bad. I know in the chat, Cash for the Ghost, you're asking how old is Walker. He is 31 years old. He turns 32 in August. Hey, he's only Spencer's only a little less than a month older than me. There you go. But yeah, listen, when you see people out here taking your job and you see the way that Spencer is pitching, if I'm Taiwan, I'm trying to get back as fast as I can also. And every day I'm in AAA, I'm like feeling a little bit less encouraged that I'll be back. So, yeah.
So this is courtesy of Baseball Paul on Twitter. Spencer Turnbull has allowed 10 hits in his first 4 starts with the Phillies.
Wow.
The fewest hits allowed in any Phillies starting pitcher's first 4 starts of the franchise, dating back to Sid Fernandez in 1995.
95.
That is unbelievable. And that's why I don't think this is an easy decision. Now, the parallels or the talking points of Matt Strahm are going to come up because if you remember, last year the Phillies had the opposite of the possibility of a 6-man rotation. They had a 4-man rotation where they had to bring a middle reliever in and start him for a number of games.
Go with Stromboli.
And if you're anti-Turnbull, yeah, I wanted pizza tonight for dinner, and you have to bring up Stromboli. How insensitive!
Who doesn't love Stromboli?
I love Stromboli.
I know. I wanted
a pizza.
It's a good nickname, though, in all seriousness, because
as Tyler said when we were watching, Renee, not everyone needs a nickname.
When we watch the games together, guys, I'm literally just tossing out nicknames to see what sticks, like past on the wall.
Yeah.
But Matt Strahm is like Stromboli. He's not quite the pizza, but he's somewhere. He's somewhere in between.
Should have just stopped when you were ahead.
He's Mr. Versatile.
But Matt Strahm, when he came in, started out.
I'm just kidding.
Yes, really, really hot in the starting rotation.
Yes.
And then by like the 5th or 6th game, you know, I don't want to say wheels started coming off, but he started showing that he wasn't a starting pitcher.
Started showing he's not a pizza.
So you wonder if, sure.
I can't even laugh because my allergies.
You wonder if that's going to happen with Spencer Turnbull. Is he going to turn into a pumpkin again? And that's the debate. And I think you agree with me here. We're just going to kind of trust Rob Thompson. We will be hearing from John Foley. Our own John Foley's down at the stadium. After Rob talks, he's going to join the show from Citizens Bank Park. So I'm sure this is going to be the topic of discussion to Rob.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if he was talking about it pregame with Scott Fransky. By the way, I could listen to Scott Fransky and Rob Thompson talk baseball for like 45 minutes. It was good. It was very good. You know, I'm sure it's going to be the topic of this conversation now after the man carried a no-hitter into the 7th inning. So the Phillies have a little bit of a decision to make, and I'm curious to see where it goes.
I am too. I know in the chat, shout out to, who was saying it? Darth Pooh, who's saying Stromboli's either going to constipate you or let you go, or possibly do both. Well, you know what? If you have any questions about your digestive health.
What? Stromboli's do that to you guys? You need some better gut health, I think.
Well, you know where you can get some better gut health, guys. That's over with Ollipop. Ollipop provides you a chance to get some great gut health. They give you the classic soda taste with also having all the healthy nutrients that allow you to get the gut health, the digestive health that you deserve, so you don't have to have stomach issues. Now, over at Ollipop, they have in each can 2 to 5 grams of sugar, 9 grams of fiber per can. They've got prebiotics. They've got plant-based fiber. They've got lots of botanical ingredients that overall just support your gut health, because 2 out of every 3 Americans are dealing with digestive health issues. Don't be one of them. With Ollipop, you get a chance to drink healthy, but also drink delicious. They've got tremendous flavors you can try. Their classic root beer, which makes for a great pairing with some vanilla ice cream for a root beer float. They've got some orange squeeze, classic grape, strawberry vanilla, cream soda, cherry cola, Dr. Goodwin. They're great as a mixer. They're great with ice cream. They're great straight. Refreshing, delicious, flavorful, and also, of course, great for you. Now, the best part is you can buy Ollipop in 30,000 retailers across the country. Wawa is one of them, who just celebrated a 60th anniversary. You can head to Wawa to get Ollipop. It's also on the shelves at Target, Wegmans, Sprouts, ShopRite, GoPuff, and then online as well on those virtual shelves. You can find Ollipop at Amazon, as well as drinkollipop.com. So use that code PHLY20 to be able to get 20% off your next Ollipop order for any one-time orders, not for your subscription orders. Again, that's PHLY20. Get 20% off at Ollipop and enjoy a nice, refreshing, delicious, flavorful, healthy Ollipop. I've loved drinking Ollipop and been enjoying it myself, and you guys can too with a nice discount at PHLY20 for 20% off your order.
Well, it's that time of the year where the bats are starting to warm up and allergies are starting to kick your ass.
Me.
So
That's
get
me.
to Rite Aid. I was around my sister's dog for, I don't know, 4 hours the other day, and I've been dealing with the repercussions of allergies for about 3.5 days. Is it worth it? Hell yeah, dogs rule. But if allergies are kicking your ass and the pollen's on your car and you can't escape it, you got to go and see our friends over at Rite Aid because it's allergy season, and Rite Aid has everything you need to battle the demons. Pollen from trees, cutting the grass, weeds, everything. If you're feeling sneezy, itchy eyes, whatever it may be, get over to Rite Aid. They have a ton of stuff, not only for allergies, but cold symptoms, itchy, red, or swollen, watery eyes, sneezing, nasal congestion, scratchy throats, anything you can think of, head fog. And you can go to Rite Aid and get emails at riteaid.com/rewards to receive pollen alerts in your area. So you can try to get ahead of this. If the pollen count is high, try to stay indoors a little bit. Or you can talk to the Rite Aid pharmacist about over-the-counter options at your local Rite Aid. They have antihistamines. And 1 to 2 weeks before pollen allergies are expected, you can, get the nasal decongestions and all that stuff going. Talk to the pharmacist if something you're doing isn't enough. They're there to help you out. So visit your local Rite Aid today. Stock up on allergy relief or catch up on immunizations and RSV, shingles, and more. Walk in or schedule a vaccine appointment at riteaid.com. Well, Renee, the Phillies, aside from Spencer Turnbull, I'm excited to hear what Rob Thompson had to say post-game when we talked to John in a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
The other storyline of the game, Alec Bohm. My goodness, 2 3-run jacks tonight. And I'm very generous with the word jacks there. The one got into about the 4th row, and the other one got into about the 1st or 2nd row. But it doesn't matter because they counted for 6 RBIs. Alec Bohm had himself an evening. And we have to give, not that Alec Bohm wouldn't have been in the lineup, we have to give manager Rob Thompson a lot of credit for tonight's lineup, sitting Bryson Stott and Brandon Marsh versus Garrett Crochet, who's been very, very good against left-handed batters. He went with the righty-heavy lineup tonight, and Alec Bohm was the one that came through for him.
Yeah, listen.
And we'll get to Witt, but Alec Bohm was the story offensively of the game.
Listen, there's no extra bonus run scored for the distance of your home run. A home run is a home run.
Oh, yeah. No,
and
they all
for
count the same.
I mean, they barely made it, but they got there. Woo. But for Alec Bohm to have had 2 3-run homers, and
nice.
now is up to 17 RBIs on the season so far in his 66 at bats. Got to get that to 67. Scored 7 runs.
666 Mark of the Beast? Is that what you're... Nasty Nate?
I know. He's got 66
Do you know
at bats.
my Nasty Nate reference?
No.
It's okay. It's half-baked. 666 Mark of the Beast. Nasty Nate. No, Nasty Nate.
What movie is that?
Half-baked. When he goes to jail, Nasty Nate.
I'll Google it while you're talking.
It's a classic.
Maybe I know it. But he's got his splits 258. This sounds like a phone number. 258, 364, 470 is a slugging, and then also an 833 OPS. And Alec Bohm continues to be Mr. Consistent. With guys on base, runners in scoring position, Alec Bohm delivers. And I love the fact that where he's at in the batting order, I feel like is perfect for him every single time to be able to just come in and help guys get home. And obviously today you get 2 3-run homers in your first 2 at-bats, which is remarkable. But he's just feeling it. It seems like he's in a great place right now. He's turning a corner in his career. He's just 27 years old, but this season feels like a different Alec Bohm than past seasons. You feel like you're getting him locked into his role of how he's helping at third base, how he's helping with his at-bats, and also just continues to be a bright spot. Yeah, he's the thing that's like most encouraging about him is he's just constantly improving. And if he can get those power numbers up, 2 home run evenings are going to help him get out. If he can get into that 22, 25 home run a year range, he's really kind of done everything you've asked him to do since he's been here. Led the team with runners in scoring position last year. Kind of appears to be one of your more clutch hitters again this year. Defensively, he's improved to a level that I didn't think he was capable of, to be frank.
I thought he never was going to be this good of a fielder, and he continues to improve. It's weird when you look back on the "I bleep and hate this place" comments, and they're giving the shirt away soon. But shout out to Kevin Gregg from the Phillies media department, who's told him or recommended to him, like, "Hey man, I know this city. Just own up to it, and they're gonna love you for it."
Ever since he's been accountable
and
for that,
he did, and he owned it, and he's turned a corner, and he's improved, week by week, month by month, ever since then. Alec Bohm, I don't know why some people aren't in love with him. I think it's because it's third base, and it's historically a power position, and you want some more pop. But how do you not love the Alec Bohm story?
I know, and I think also something about he's like. Okay, I think Alec Bohm is a guy that at 6'5" with the locks swaying, he gives you this pretty boy vibe. But that's not Alec Bohm's game.
It's a very handsome baseball team.
He's very handsome, very handsome.
The whole team, a bunch of studs.
It is a very good-looking team, I will say. But I feel like for whatever reason, he kind of gets overlooked because people are just like, oh, it's just
because he's homegrown and he's not paid big money.
The other part of it is his track record leading up to now. But Alec Bohm is showing he's someone he's a threat. You have to keep an eye on. And when he's up to bat, expect good things to happen. And I know in the chat, I just want to give some love to some of the comments because Philly 007 is making a good point, as you hit on, that, we are so quick to see people complaining about Rob Thompson's decisions when the Phillies aren't doing well, but when they are, another shutout game, you get Alec Bohm, who's been consistently playing so well.
That's why I'm not going to complain about the decision with the protein rotation. Rob's
Chris,
been good this year.
I know, Chris, Ellie, you're saying in the chat that you thought Bohm was going to break Wirt's record tonight of the 8 RBIs and 08. Well, he did actually put himself in some really good company tonight, if I can find it, that Alec Bohm was able to make. So tonight with Alec Bohm, that's his 4th career multi-homer game. His last one was July 1st of 2023 versus the Nationals, and he's tied a career high with 6 RBIs. Now, the Phillies haven't had a player with 7 or more RBIs in a game since, guess who?
7 or more RBIs in a game. It's got to be Harper had 6 recently. I'm gonna go with Harper.
Do you want me to give you the year?
Yeah.
May of 2012.
Oh.
Versus the Braves, actually.
2012.
Who was it?
Ryan Howard was in his dip by then.
You're gonna be so excited when you hear this.
Is it Chooch?
Yes! Ding, 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 ding. Winner. So the last person to have 7 or more RBIs in a game, none other than Chooch, Carlos Ruiz.
Senior October.
The Atlanta Braves, May 2nd, 2012. So Alec Bohm, although he didn't break Wirt's 08 RBI record, did give it right up there the first since Chooch did it. So it's just fantastic overall to see how he's coming into form. He is a homegrown. He is still young. And he is, I feel like, still has so much more to show. Like, I don't think this is the best we're going to get from Alec Bohm. We wondered last year if his 20 home runs was going to be the best that we've seen from him. But
if he gets to 25 a year, I think he's an unmitigated success story. I mean, I already think he's a success story. It would be better than that. I think, if he got to that 25 home run, 100 RBI a year, and his defense is as good as it's been lately, I think he is everything you could have hoped for, really. And we'll see if Aiden Miller gives him, because, Tyler said it when we were watching the game tonight, Aiden Miller better be good because Alec Bohm's going to get paid.
Yeah.
Alec Bohm's get paid in Major League Baseball, and I think he has 2 years remaining of arbitration, maybe 3, ? I'll have to look that up. But Alec Bohm is going to make money in this league. Real big boy money, Major League Baseball money. Not just everyday Joe money, because he's already making that.
Oh, yeah. And he deserves that. He absolutely deserves that. It's great to see how he's showing just being steady at third base has been helpful too. As much as he's been fantastic with his 3 home runs and now 17 RBIs, his third base play has been great. He's anticipating well. He's reading the ball. It's very smooth and controlled. So it's been fun to see how he's improved. I know Jeff Jones, you're saying in the chat too, the defensive improvement is off the charts. Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, one of the biggest things that jumps out at me. You don't have a lot of those plays where the ball's sailing out to third and it's going over his glove or he's misjudging it. No, I honestly,
didn't.
and before the season started, I remember them talking actively about the biggest area for Bohm they were working on was his filding. But you see how it's
he's tall.
translated,
You don't
right?
see a lot of third basemen that are like
6'5".
Yeah, I was going to say 6'5", 6'6".
Mhm.
Maybe it's contagious because the guy to the left of him on the infield, Trey Turner, is absolutely
Another
on
one.
fire. Another 3-hit night for Trey Turner. He's hitting the cover off the ball. I think let me pull up his actual ending numbers, but I want to say he's hitting around 354 here. Trey Turner is batting 329 with an on base at 386, a slugging of 487, an OPS plus of 143. Trey Turner is on fire right now. I think that stat we heard during the game, Renee, was that is 8 straight games with a hit, 6 straight games with an extra base hit. Trey Turner, back to the Trey Turner we all knew and hoped for, would be here consistently.
This is why you bring Trey in. This is what you hope to get from him because, you knew he had this in him. This is post-August ovation Trey consistently from the beginning. And it's fantastic to see, as you talk about, I know in the chat, Lisa, you're mentioning it's such a great feeling to be able to watch guys grow and improve. Well, it's great to see Trey not only just grow and improve, but be steady and consistent because we always knew he had this in him. Alec Bohm is different. He's surprising us in a number of ways, especially on the defensive side. But with Trey, it's a little different. We knew he had this in him, but now we're getting this from him every day where he's able to give you hits. He's able to give you, he's still had, he'll have his hiccup here and there, on the fielding side. But overall, this is the Trey Turner that you wanted. And that number, as you mentioned, the 8-game hitting streak, 6 straight games of an extra base hit, and his last 25 at-bats coming into today, 11 hits, 4 doubles, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, the 440, 462, 840 split, and a .6 F/WAR. Trey Turner has been, and I feel like it's kind of quiet because it hasn't been home runs. He only has a pair of home runs on the season, only. But he has been giving you some really good base hits and just consistently giving you what you need at the top of the batting order, which has been fun to watch.
Yeah, he's been great. And Bryce Harper also looks like not a stellar night, but you didn't need it tonight.
Yeah.
And when those top 3 guys, Schwarber was up against Crochet tonight, who, look, versus lefties, Rob Thompson said pregame, he's pretty much an automatic out versus lefties, but Kyle Schwarber has been great too. So Schwarber, Turner, and Harper all look like they're coming into form. The lineup tonight, Castellanos got moved up a little bit because Whit Merrifield and Edmundo Sosa were in the lineup. Whit Merrifield, a little bit of a slump buster, was approaching the 100 batting average territory until he mollywopped one into left field. Into left field tonight. Maybe a little bit of a slump buster. We'll see. I can't say it is or it isn't at this point, but it was good to see a Whit Merrifield home run. And our friend down at Citizens Bank Park, John Foley, is going to be joining the show now. John, good evening from Citizens Bank Park. How was tonight down at the stadium, fresh off the Rob Thompson press conference?
So it was a great evening. I mean, this is as good as it gets. And I know it's the White Sox. I know they're struggling, to say the least. But this was a fun one.
So, John, you're fresh off the Rob Thompson press conference. What was the talking point? Because we kind of speculated what it might be. How do you take Spencer Turnbull out of a rotation right now? I would imagine was the main focus of it.
Exactly. That was the main topic of conversation. Rob made it clear that there was not a decision yet to take Turnbull out of the rotation when Walker returns. Now they do have some concerns about Turnbull's ability to go a certain number of innings. I think they're looking into that and seeing like how big of a leap can you make from one season to the next in innings pitched, and to the extent that there is a limitation there. Do you want those innings early? Do you want them later? What do you do? Then they may still decide to go with Walker. But it's a good problem to have, right? I mean, I can't remember a time, in my life where the Phillies had too many starting pitchers. to really figure out what to do with the rotation. This is unfamiliar territory.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. Like last year was the inverse. You needed Strom to come in and kind of go above his innings pitched to help out the rotation. This year, it's like, oh, do we send our bullpen help or what do we do here?
Yeah, it's an embarrassment of riches. It's crazy. Scott Lauber tweeted out something amazing. He compared the first several times through the rotation of the 2011 rotation to this one, and this rotation is doing better. So, that's rare territory for a starting rotation to be.
Yeah, it definitely is. And as you mentioned, it is just the White Sox. But either way, a win is a win, a shutout is a shutout, and a near no-hitter is a near no-hitter. The White Sox have scored the fewest runs in Major League Baseball through 18 games since the 2013 Marlins.
They stink.
Very much struggling, but a good chance for the Phillies to pounce on them, and we saw them do that today. What do you make of today's performance and the key players that stand out to you? We've been talking about it on our end, but I'm curious to get your thoughts on who you really liked and how they looked, especially since you're down at the ballpark watching in person.
So, I mean, the obvious ones: Bohm, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs through the first few innings. And Turnbull, obviously, Topper was asked about Nick Castellanos' at bats tonight, and he seemed very confident when he answered that they looked better. I think he sent a ball to the warning track. Now, look, we're setting
9
the
miles
bar.
an hour almost.
Yeah, we're setting the bar very low here when we're talking about improvement from, he's batting like 150. But, it's not always the results that show up first. First, you see the improvement in the swing, and then hopefully you start seeing the results on the field. So it would have been great if Castellanos could have joined the party tonight with everyone hitting the ball out of the yard. But hopefully he's getting there. And, the way I look at it, somebody's going to be struggling at any given time. It's very hard to get 9 guys going at once. If this is Castellanos' turn to struggle, okay, maybe get it out of the way now while some of the other guys are hitting well, especially Trey Turner. How about Turner and the numbers he's putting up? All of a sudden, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And I know we always love to get your takes on just kind of the vibes and how things are going. I'm curious to know. Listen, Topper's never going to give you anything extra, not too high, not too low, but. What I know you mentioned Nick. What was Rob Thompson mentioning post game that was really encouraging regarding the at bats and the way that the offense has continued to get going? The bats are heating up. It feels like it's hitting season. What was he saying in regards to just tweaking the lineup and the way that it paid off today in this nice shutout win?
Not a lot of conversation about the lineup. He didn't go out there and brag about how things actually worked out, even though we all hated the lineup when we saw it. This happens over and over. The lineup comes out, social media explodes and says, "Where's Marsh? Where's Stott against this lefty?" And then then they go out and put up runs. So at a certain point, you got to think, maybe this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I think some bouquets are owed at Rob Thompson's feet tonight. And that's why I said, John, like, I'm not going to question the decision he makes here with Walker and Turnbull. Like, I think he's kind of earned the right to make that. It'll be interesting to see what does happen. But, John, I'm greedy now. You have a chance to get 2 sweeps in a row. The White Sox average 1.5 runs per game. They stink, and you have Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola going over the weekend, a 6:05 game tomorrow night, a 1:35 game on the Fanatic's birthday. You can't blow that one. Am I irrational to really kind of be disappointed now if they don't get 2 sweeps?
I think that's not irrational at all. I mean, first of all, go out there and get Zach Wheeler a win, please. I mean, all the stars are aligned.
Support.
Yeah, it's just, come on. The White Sox, Wheeler's pitch it.
You got
to get that one. And then the Fanatic's birthday on Sunday, Nola's pitching well. Let's, just bully this team. Just absolutely bully this team. We've seen it done to the Phillies when when they were one of the worst teams of baseball for a while and they would get pushed around. This is what you got to do. We talked about it the other day. Good teams got to just beat up on bad teams, and now's the chance to do it because the schedule will be tougher later on. There's a lot of games against Atlanta and whatnot lurking down the line. So get those wins, and no, I don't think it's irrational at all to be disappointed if they can't get a sweep of the White Sox.
Yeah, this is definitely the time to get some run support for Zach Wheeler. I agree with you, John. Lisa's saying the same thing in the chat. Definitely the time to get Casty going. At 3-16 after tonight, the White Sox were shut out for the 7th time in 19 games. And there is a complete list of teams that have done that in the last 124 years, dating back to 1901, excuse me. And it's just the White Sox. Nobody else has done it.
Yeah,
They
you know
are the
what?
only people.
They are a joke.
Surprise! Since 1901, there's just one team that's been shut out 7 times in their first 19 games, and it is just this year's Chicago White Sox, guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's tack 2 more on. And, tack 2 more on.
Absolutely.
Put you got them down. Let's kick them while they're down. No mercy.
Absolutely.
No mercy.
I agree 100%. John, we appreciate you joining as always. You can check out John's writing on allphly.com and some awesome photoshops.
Oh, yes.
Including JT Real Muto's catching outfit as X in the Wolverine X-Men cover tonight at 2008 Phils with a Z on Twitter. John, we appreciate you as always. Keep up the great work.
Hey,
Later,
thanks.
John.
See you, buddy.
Yeah,
there he is, and he'll be at both games this weekend, so make sure you're reading his work. I think if you're a diehard here at PHLY, Jim Salisbury's story, I believe, is up. I got to get my diehard membership worked out.
Oh, mine's working.
I didn't.
Well, you're not a great technology guy.
The stuff where you have to like log in and do stuff and like actually like execute on emails.
Oh, when we first started?
Yeah. I didn't do that.
Here's what we're going to do.
I got to do that now that Jim's here.
Here's the new plan.
I'm going to own up to that one. I got to get on top of that.
Mr. goes to the bank and pays with checks. Here's what we're going to do.
Mr. goes to the bank. Should have just stopped it at that, because who goes to the bank
I haven't
anymore?
been in a long time. I have direct deposit.
I am going
Oh.
to, every morning, I'm going to print out the stories from the night before.
Please.
I'm going to hand them to
That'd be
you.
great.
You're in exchange going to hand me cash.
Oh, $1.
And I'm your diehard.
You are.
I am the diehard.
The printing press,
Yes,
basically. You are giving you need it printed out and delivered every morning for you.
actually prefer that.
I don't
With your
own
coffee?
I don't own a printer.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
we
don't
have-
know
And
how
that
to
is
make this
how
work.
the newspaper
I
was
think we have
created,
one. I
folks.
think we have
We
one
do have a
here.
printer here, but that is how the newspaper was created. Sorry,
But
JD,
become a
that-
diehard, and you can read Jim Salisbury, and you can read John for free. But we have a lot of great things going on here at PHLY. So think about becoming a diehard.
And now that it is fully into April and we are rolling through games, you can also take advantage of the Gametime app, the place to go to be able to get some great last-minute ticket deals. They've got concert tickets, comedy shows, game tickets. They don't have newspapers for those late adopters that don't know how to follow their emails, but they do have a lot of other great deals for you that you won't miss out on. So with the Gametime app, you don't have to worry about the struggles of searching for things and finding things. For all you guys that don't read your emails, it's right there for you on the Gametime app.
struggle with it.
They have all the latest for you, and what I love is they also send you alerts whenever there are new tickets that have dropped in your area. They really simplify the process for you. They allow you to see your seats, where you're going to be located at that game, at that concert, at that event. And then, of course, when you show up, don't worry about that printing press, guys. Don't worry about the printer. Your tickets are right on your phone. You can now go right to the door. Don't have any Wi-Fi issues or papers that you're looking for. Your ticket's right there. You can scan, you can get in. So head over to the Gametime app today. Use the code PHLY. Get $20 off of your purchase. Download the app. Use that code PHLY. Get $20 off. And go have some fun with the Gametime app with whatever game, concert, or event, comedy show, whatever it is you're going to that you choose to attend.
Yes, and let me tell you about my friends over at Miller Lite, because Miller Lite just tastes better after a Phillies win. And when you're around friends and family, having the Beer Drinkers Light beer, the original light beer since 1975, is always a reassuring taste. You go somewhere and you know they got Miller Lite. You just go, I'm in good hands. I'm going down to Citizens Bank Park on Sunday with the girls for the Fanatics' birthday. And when the Galapagos gang is out on the field, I go, my friends and family are here. The Galapagos gang. Miller Lite, please. And it's the original light beer because it tastes like a light beer should taste. The original light beer since 1975. And a lot has changed over the time since then, but not the great taste of Miller Lite. Only 96 calories per 12 ounces. You can't beat it. It's slimming season, whether it's, heading to the beach or the pool. You gotta drop those double IPAs and those hazy IPAs, and you gotta get a consistent, light drinking, smooth tasting light beer, and it's only 96 calories. It's the original light beer since 1975, and times change, but you can always enjoy the great taste of Miller Lite. Tastes like Miller time. Go to MillerLite.com/PHLY Phils, and you can get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, or just find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Please celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. All right, a couple other notes from the game, and then we'll wrap up and preview the weekend ahead. Let me just go through my notes, make sure we didn't miss anything here. Here's one about the Phillies offense. The Phillies offense has had 11 extra base hits in the last 2 games. They had 30 in their first 17 games combined. So I don't want to officially declare it hitting season, but I think we're on the doorstep of hitting season. And if this is a sign of what is to come, the Phillies are going to be a really fucking good baseball team.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And ironically, I just was curious and decided to look at where were we a year ago on April 19th. April 19th, 2023. Do you remember
how many
it, guys?
Games played?
At this point, the Phillies were 19 games in. They were playing
19 games.
Are we supposed to guess who they were playing?
I'm not guessing who they were playing.
You got a
guess
1 in
their
29
record.
chance.
Guess where they were 19 games in.
I will say 8 and 11.
Yeah, I was going to say 9 and 10.
Wow, 8 and 11.
I'm
so
a genius.
at this
Smartest man
on
alive.
this exact day a year ago, the Phillies had just come off beating the White Sox 5-2.
Why do they always play the White Sox
I have
early?
no
That's
idea.
weird.
The White Sox were 7 and 12 at this point. The Phillies were 8 and 11, and I just lost it because Google decided to refresh. But either way, I was just curious. It's kind of interesting. They were 8 and 11, 19 games in last year. They are now sitting with 12 wins and 8 losses at this point of the season.
So John Foley put out a tweet about this. The 1980 Phillies were 10 and 10 at this point. The 2008 Phillies were also 10 and 10 at this point. The 2024 Phillies are 12 and 8.
Ooh, get irrational. I like it. I like it a lot.
Look, when you talk about this starting rotation and the bullpen, and when the offense comes alive, this team is going to be a real SOB to deal with. The starting rotations, ERAs, pitcher by pitcher right now. Zach Wheeler has a 3. Aaron Nola is terrible with a 3.47. Terrible.
He's had every game except one in a
sticks.
monsoon.
And I say that sarcastically, Aaron
He
Nola,
might
if you're
still
watching.
be drying out from the game 2 games ago.
Adorable Ranger, 1.73 ERA. How do you not love that guy? Christopher Sanchez, 2.53 ERA.
Wow.
And Spencer Turnbull leading the rotation with a 1.23 ERA.
1, 2,
This
3.
starting rotation is nasty. We'll see what happens. It's going to be the talking point of Phillies fans, over the weekend and up ahead, as Taiwan will probably be due if he was to get next
Saturday.
Thursday or Friday?
No.
Saturday?
They have him listed as possibly next
Saturday?
next weekend against San Diego. They just said next weekend.
We'll see what happens.
Possibly Sunday, yes.
But the bullpen's been good. Starting rotation has been excellent. And the offense, if we perceive this as struggling, has nothing but sunshine, rainbows, lollipops, and ice cream ahead.
These are good problems to have. We're having issues of, do you have a 6-man rotation or move Spencer to the pen? Like, these are great problems to have at this point in the season. Not to mention they are at least over 500, which, as indicated from last year and past seasons, despite our frustrations, this is a better start. We've been wanting the Phillies. I almost said the Sixers. We've been wanting the Phillies to have a hot start. And this is it. This is what it looks like. It's taken time for the bats to get going, but they're here. It's taken time for, I know in the chat you guys mentioned earlier, still want to see more from guys like Bryce, of course. Definitely, obviously,
Castellanos
Nick.
has to get better.
But overall, you're getting Trey, Kyle for the most part, definitely Alec and Brandon Marsh. Yoro's giving you better at bats. This is exactly it. Orion, you guys have touched on and talked about him in the chat.
Oh, I put a tweet out. Did you see
Orion
this?
has been, his number was around like a 97, 98 mile per hour.
I went and looked at the 5 hardest thrown pitches tonight in the game. No, and going into the 7th or 8th inning before Orion came in, Garrett Crochet had 4 of the top 5 hardest thrown pitches.
Ooh.
Once Orion Kirkering entered the game and left the game, Orion Kirkering owned 4 of the 5 hardest thrown pitches. Orion's hardest thrown on the evening, 98.6. And he then threw a 98.3, a 98.2, and a 98.2. Garrett Crochet had a 98.3 to tie him for second. But that is what Orion Kirkering brings to this bullpen.
Yeah.
And they haven't even had to use him really in a
Exactly.
high leverage spot yet. So that'll be interesting when he gets his first kind of high leverage spot. But the bullpen got better, and Junior Marte's been great. Gregory Soto's probably the worst arm in the pen. Dickie Beans will probably be sent down as soon as Taiwan is up.
Yeah.
You have a really good bullpen, and Sir Anthony and Soto are the only 2 you don't feel great about, kind of.
Exactly. You had Stromboli out there continuing to look.
Really
He's rounding out the bullpen nicely.
You're really going to be pushing this one.
I don't think I am. You guys, I don't know.
As Tyler said, not everyone needs
So
it.
I have a question. If I start booing you when you have a bad,
Don't you have a boo on that soundboard?
I probably do, but the problem is she can't hear it. Only
Exactly. You can boo me all you
only our
want.
friends would hear it,
Yeah,
and me, I would hear
DJ's
it.
discretion.
Well, I just think it makes
Boo
sense.
away.
You have this. Your starting pitches are your pizzas, and your bullpen's your Stromboli.
Some people would say Stromboli's better than pizza.
I love Stromboli and pizza. I don't even know which is best. But either way, I'm getting hungry now.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, like, how do I introduce my girls into Stromboli because they love pizza so much.
Cut
I
it
feel
up.
I
into small
know, but it's not the
pieces.
same.
Because Stromboli's kind of hard to bite sometimes.
But like my girls
depending on
love
how-
salami, and if I get the wrong size salami cuts, they don't color and shape.
Sorry
and
to
size.
trigger this problem for you.
I know, but it comes from my love of Stromboli, and I didn't.
You talk about Stromboli a lot. I feel like you should like the Stromboli nickname.
I'm
Jamie
not.
talks about Stromboli pretty often.
I'm not opposed to it. Okay.
So
I feel like I gotta say it better, like Stromboli. No, no. Okay, I'll sleep on it. I'll come back.
So when you guys were talking about the hardest thrown pitches tonight, it was mostly Orion Kirkering. Do you guys want to take a guess what the hardest thrown pitch by Spencer Turnbull registered at tonight?
93.4.
It was 94.3. You were close.
Oh,
do you know?
dyslexic.
Do you know what that ranked of all pitches thrown tonight? The velocity.
4th.
It was the 48th hardest thrown
Wow.
pitch. Guys, that tells you that there is still a place
For stuff.
I think specifically for starters. I think the bullpen,
Yeah.
it's a little antiquated to be a 90-mile, 92, 94 guy coming out of the pen.
He's got
But
movement.
for starters, if you have stuff, you have movement, and you can keep guys off balance, I think there still is a real place for a not, quote, flamethrower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's exactly it. I mean, I know in the chat, John, you were mentioning the sweeper slider transcends any name hype for any, for sure it's the real deal. You guys are talking about if Orion's name was Bob. That's hilarious, Dave. And then
Bob
also
Kirkering.
that's it.
Sounds like an
Or
accountant.
Bobby Kirkering could be good. I like
Old
Bobby.
Bob Kirkering,
Yeah.
CPA. Nice to meet you.
And then, sorry, Lisa, I got you now
No,
thinking about
he's
cheesesteak
Robert at that
Stromboli.
point.
And then hypothetical man, you're talking about how you still kind of wish they played Stoughton Marsh. And yeah, I know that's tough to see, but listen, it's
Rob
April.
Thompson made the right decision.
I'm happy with first of all, I love the fact you got to get Sosa. Witt had just 3 hits coming into tonight. He had his 4th hit as a homer. He breaks the slump that he's in. Like, you need to give these guys opportunities. And I know Rob was mentioning pregame how he hopes that Witt can get going tonight. He wants him to get back on, get him on the right track. And he did. 2-run homer. He needed that. His batting average dropped to a 103. And it was his first extra base hit in 33 plate appearances this season. You needed to allow him to have a chance. Coming into tonight in the games, oh no, that's not Witt. That's somebody else. My apologies. But I will say for tonight, for his stats now, he's at 3 runs on the season, 4 hits. Just that 1 home run that he finally got a chance to see the ball of his bat out of the ballpark. 2 walks. He's been struggling. And so you needed to get Witt going because he is that utility piece. And you have to keep him fresh. You have to keep him ready, prepared if you ever need him to go in at any point. So I know we love seeing Bryson Stott out there and Bryson Stott and Brandon Marsh out there. But we got to get guys like Witt and Sosa opportunities to keep them engaged and fresh. If you ever Pache, another one. if you ever need
Yeah,
them.
and Pache hit one like 99 miles an hour. It went deep to the center field wall. It was just shy. But you got to get those guys at bats. And Rob Thompson's lineup tonight was right. Garrett Crochet is pretty much an automatic out versus left-handed batter. So it's good to get those guys a night off. All right, as we're wrapping up the weekend ahead, I'm greedy. I want 2 sweeps in a row here. These teams that you've been facing sucked. We talked about it. You're on a great pace right now. The Phillies haven't allowed an extra base hit in 3 straight games from a pitching staff, which is remarkable, / tells you how bad the Rockies and White Sox are. To our poor friends in Chicago and Denver that have to cover these teams, our heart actually goes out to you.
So sorry.
That's rough. That's just rough. And kudos to you guys for doing great work around both teams. Yeah, the old Caitlin Clark heart symbol to all you guys, because that's some bad baseball you guys got to watch on a nightly basis. But the weekend ahead, Michael Soroka, our old friend from the Braves, who could never remain healthy down there, faces off against Zach Wheeler. So far on the year, Michael Soroka is 0-2 with a 6.98 ERA and 2 strikeouts. Zach Wheeler, it's about effing time you get him some run support and get a W for that man. And then on Sunday, don't embarrass the Galapagos gang. They're traveling all the way up here. It's a hike from Ecuador to South Philadelphia. Nick Nastrini versus Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola, 2-1 on the year with a 3.47 ERA, which leads the team in terms of the worst ERA, versus Nastrini, who has a 3.60 ERA this year, 5 strikeouts. So great opportunity to get 2 sweeps in a row, really make the NL East in April feel some pressure down in Atlanta. This would be an awesome weekend for the Phillies if they can pull this off.
Well, here's some other extra ammunition for why you need to go on and get this sweep and knock off the White Sox. The White Sox, with their streak of, going through the first 6 and some change innings without a hit, they became one of only 13. Well, actually today in general, excuse me. Let me just backtrack. Today, the White Sox remain one of only 13 teams since 1901 to score 38 or fewer runs in their first 18 games. They are the first since the 2013 Marlins. They also are the lowest currently across the league in every possible offensive category for the most part. They have scored the fewest runs in Major League Baseball, and not only since the 2013 Marlins, but for the club since 1943. And they're just absolutely, as we mentioned, struggling offensively with 1.5 runs. So you need to pepper them, keep this going. This is a great chance. I know in the chat you guys are mentioning John Lemmerman and Hypothetical Man. You're talking about Witt, and we're talking about all these different, what we want to see more from Harper and even more from Witt. Yes, this is a great series to get to kind of iron out the kinks. Let's figure out how we can the wrinkles. Let's figure out how you can continue to pummel the White Sox, keep the hot bats going. You can have now back-to-back series where you sweep. You're scored yet again more than 5 runs tonight. That's another positive because, as we know, prior to this, the first 16 games, the Phillies had only scored more than 5 one game when Harper had 3 home runs. So another chance to really get going offensively, keep the fielding clean, keep them off the scoreboard, not giving them any freebies or walks or anything, and just walk out of this series feeling great. So I'm excited for the weekend. Also, some other updates around the league, Jamie, as we wrap up, because I did see some other news going on around Major League Baseball.
Jack Flaherty's got 10 strikeouts.
Adley Rutschman hit his first career Grand Slam. If anybody cares. The Braves have won their 5th straight in a row.
Yeah, they should chill out.
Yeah, where did they even go? Yeah, they're back to winning a little bit. They're back to winning a little bit, to say the least. So that happened. The Yankees are top of the AL. Around the league, we're keeping an eye on these other teams, but most importantly, the Phillies, of course, with a nice 7-0 win.
Yes,
that's all
It's
I'm
okay to get out of here,
about.
Renee. We're leaving. Good night. The Phillies are good. We're not going to read random baseball notes. We're getting the hell out of here. Have a great weekend, everyone. Go Phillies.
Jamie's ready to go home.
Get another sweep this weekend, please. And come Monday morning at 11 a.m., we'll all be walking on sunshine. And that's not a cue to sing. Please, we're going to the weekend. For Renee Washington, Tyler Zulli, I'm Jamie Lynch.
Jamie's over it. Bye.
Have a great weekend, everyone. We love you. We appreciate you. See you on Monday.
We all silly like the mayor.